By now, you may recognize the name and the face of the new Washington Post food critic, Elazar Sontag. He's not only bringing a different vibe and variety of restaurants to his reviews, he is bringing back stars. But they don't necessarily mean what you think when it comes to deciding where to eat.
First and foremost, when I was thinking about the decision to bring back stars, was that as a reader, I love reading restaurant reviews, even of cities that I don't live in, that I don't get to visit very often. I'm always looking for the stars. It's such a legible cultural symbol. And I think that whether you like it or not, that is where our eye goes, right? We want a sense of some imperative. Do I go to this restaurant or not? Is this restaurant good or not? What a review does is it gives nuance, right? In the sense of texture and layer. And to be very clear, that is still the absolute most important thing to me. But I believe that we can give people both, especially in an era where there are so many people telling us how and where to eat online. I think that the stars are really part of what distinguishes restaurant critics from influencers. And that's not a dig. I think that those people are serving a meaningful role in our food ecosystem, and that's great. But the stars are also a way, I think, to remind readers, hey, this is the result of 2, 3, maybe 4 visits to a restaurant, of paying for everything, of really thinking about this, of talking to the chefs, of talking to diners. It's a symbol of really the legacy and the importance of this work to me, too.
Absolutely. And I know you're getting a lot of suggestions on where to eat. How are you managing all the different, it's not New York City, but DC is an incredible food town. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm sure there's so many different cuisines, different restaurants, different types of restaurants to try in your new role.
Well, I have a spreadsheet. Okay. And I say that because I really am listening to everyone. So I am not just taking mental note. When I get a restaurant recommendation, it is getting logged. I ran into a reader on the bus who recommended a South Indian restaurant in Adams Morgan that he thought was great. I hadn't heard of it. It went into my spreadsheet, and I'm going to go there for lunch soon. I'm having this experience where longtime readers are curious why, a certain restaurant never got a review or hasn't gotten a review in some years. That's going in too. So I'm trying to create, an image for myself of the restaurants that people here already love, the places that they're curious about, and then, make my own decisions about what feels, significant or urgent enough for, a review now, or maybe something that I come back to in a year.
What are your first impressions of the food scene here?
Really lovely. It's funny because you said, it's not New York. It's not New York, but I'm still overwhelmed by the options. The food scene here is bountiful. And, you have to remember, too, that this role really stretches across the region. And so I'm also, trying to really understand the food cultures, of Northern Virginia and into Maryland and get a sense of how restaurant culture is taking shape, in other cities surrounding DC as well. And they are all different, right? It's not just one big sort of mass of restaurants. They're very distinct restaurant cultures. And so, I've spent time at Eden Center trying to just sort of eat my way through the different noodle soups and figure out which one I like the most. And, Tacoma Park, going to the farmer's market on the weekends to, just digest and get a little break from all the restaurants, but also to figure out, these nearby towns and cities.
And he's just scratching the surface. There's so much to eat here in the greater Washington area. The great thing is Elazar is already exploring outside the bubble of DC and trying all sorts of different cuisines, and he's very excited.
Oh, it sounds like it. And if you've got a suggestion, he's got a spreadsheet
I was going to say, he's listening.